Your options are to comply and give up your ID, or to leave the platform. Glamour filter. Anyway, I'm coming to you if you have experienced that your Pinterest account has been blocked, restricted, or Pinterest is demanding that you give them your government ID to prove that you are over 13 and you don't want to do it. So I'm just letting you know what's going on, why you're seeing these requests, and what your rights are, which you can do notwithstanding all those. So this is such a fun filter. I love it. But anyway, full disclosure, this is the bold glamour filter. I do not look like this. Check out my other videos. Let's see what I look like. But I thought this was fun to do this video like this. Anyway, so there is a law called the Online Safety Bill that was introduced in the United Kingdom, Great Britain, across the pond last November. But as I've said in various different videos in the past on this channel, if you're not a member of this channel, you're not a subscriber, I do YouTube growth, YouTube education, Pinterest marketing, and social media education generally. And every once in a while, I like to cover the laws that impact social media platforms and explain it to you in simple terms for my audience. I've done this before here relating to this other law, the European Union law that impacts social media platforms here. I did it recently with actually United States law that impacts TikTok and other platforms. And again, I did this talking about a change in Instagram. Each time I do these takedowns or these reviews, people come on here, I get attacked because folks don't like what I'm saying and they don't believe it, or they feel like it's some sort of global conspiracy and it's more than it really is. And I was like, it's not that deep, but whatever. So if you're here, I'm just explaining to you simply why this is going on. And the reason why those laws over there affect us is because in Europe, they have stronger protection. The United States doesn't regulate the internet. We have laws and rules to control companies that are internet-based companies, but for the most part, we don't regulate them as much. We do regulate safety, information, consumers. We regulate children, data protection, that sort of stuff, yes. But it's not as strong as in Europe. And what happens is when there's a law in Europe, it's really hard for companies to say, well, we're going to bifurcate. So the people who are in Europe that has these stronger laws, we're going to just send them a certain type of content. And that's impossible. So whatever the European countries do, the laws that impact American companies, they have to change it for everyone. So this is what's going on. The Online Safety Bill was introduced last November. It was a direct reaction to a 14-year-old girl named Molly Russell who took her own life because she was seeing a lot of self-harm content on Instagram and Pinterest. And the legislator who introduced that bill and got a few of her other colleagues on board, and they actually passed it in one part of the UK Legislative House body. They convince them to say, well, we're going to hold the social media platforms liable for, one, making sure that when they say only 13-year-olds, if they say there's an age restriction, that they hold to it. Now, this wouldn't impact this girl. She was 14. However, she could have been on those platforms before she was 14 and subjected to those self-harming content, which, as you all know, the way the algorithms work, like when you like something, when you engage with the current content, when you comment, when you watch certain content, they send you more of that. So essentially, the algorithms essentially want to keep you on the platform. So they send you the type of content you're going to watch already. And if that's harmful content, if it's the type of content that will radicalize people, we know there's legislation right now ongoing against some social media platforms regarding children who have been radicalized because the social media platforms algorithms make it easy for people to get harmful content, destructive content to them all the time. So that's what happened in this case. And when the end result was that this law, which is making its way to final this month, I think it's either going to be law or not. But in advance of this law becoming final, the platforms have to actually prepare. Why they're preparing for it? Because what's at stake. According to this law, if you do not adequately, based on the legislatures, protect your platform for being accessed by people who are under the age, so in this case 13, and if you continue to not actively remove that content, not wait for it to be reported, then you are subject to potentially 10% of your revenue. Now, for example, Meta, which is makes up right now of Instagram and Facebook and a few other apps, that 10% of their revenue would be $12.3 billion, because you best believe that these platforms are not interested in losing $12.3 billion. And so for that reason, they are actively trying to remove people who are not 13. And so that means if you are under 13, they need your proof. And I know some people are saying, like, that's a government ID. Why do you want me to submit? I don't trust social media platforms. Why should I submit my government ID to you? You can't and that's what they've been before this law. You can just say, yeah, I'm over 13, and they were like, okay. And this law says that's not enough, because you have these young kids on there, impressionable young kids who are losing their lives essentially by being subjected to this content that's on the social media, and they're not ready. Their brains aren't ready. They're not mature enough. And even though their parents are letting them, then their parents shouldn't. We all know that even though our parents say you can't get on the app, we're going to find a burner phone. We're going to find some other way to access it. We're going to use our friend's phone. We're going to work around it. So even to blame the parents or put it on the parents is not enough. So they say the only people we actually can stop is these apps. So that's where it is. That's why you're getting these requests. If you are under 13, you're not supposed to be on these apps, so you no longer could be on Pinterest. Now, here's what your options are. Your options are to just either give them your ID and keep your app, or not give them to them and be removed from the app. Those really are your only options. I feel like a lot of times, and when I've done those videos I mentioned before, people don't like it, and they have what's called an entitlement. Like, they feel like, once you let me on this app, you shouldn't change your rules. You shouldn't do what you need to do to protect your business interests, to protect your legal interests. You just have to do what I like, and don't shift it and don't change it. And that's ridiculous. Or you gave me money once, you need to keep the money. I've seen people, when the creator funds go away, be like, we're entitled. How can they take it away? It's kind of like they gave you something. They didn't have to give it to you. It's a gift. Granted, you are on the app helping them build their app, make it nice and things like that. Yes, all that is true. But what's also true is that they're a business. I think a lot of people don't have that business mind. And so they realize, they should go back to the creator fund, I've heard people say. But the creator fund is not self-sustaining. It costs the apps money, and they're not guaranteed a return on investment. Where if it was an advertising model, at least the advertisers are paying for it. They're not coming out of pocket. They're not paying a whole bunch of creators to create content. And it's kind of like, what are we doing all this for? So when they end it, it's kind of like, it doesn't meet the business interest. It might piss you off because you no longer have money, but it's their app. You should figure out a way to diversify your income anyway, so you're not relying on just an app to get picked anyway. And that's in case, watch my other content on here. I talk about that a lot. So essentially, you like this takedown, I have a few series on this channel where I talk about Dish on the social media platform, and I kind of decode the law. So check them out when you're done watching this video if you want. Anyway, so that's it. That's all it is. Your options are to comply and give up your ID, or to leave the platform. That's it. Don't get mad at me. That's all it is. They have $12.1 billion at stake here. So if you had $12 billion at stake, are you going to be like, nah, let me ignore that law and let y'all stay on the app and just do whatever you want to do and just risk getting sued and lose them? They're going to say, all right, bye, little kids. That's what it is. It is what it is. Don't get mad at me. Don't hate me. Don't dislike this video because you don't like the message. It's just a message. That's it. That's all right. I hope you enjoyed. All right. Take care. Bye. Watch this playlist here. You want to see more content like this? Peace.